I tested the top 5 best rated tactics on FM base so you don't have to. And I've chosen 3 different leagues that I'm going to try 3 different types of club in, so strap yourselves in. Now at the elite level, we're going to go with the Premier League. Why? Because there are 4 teams that I think in the Premier League are far superior than a lot of others, especially in Football Manager, but they're all just as good that they could all win the league. And to be honest, Liverpool tend to be the best, which means there's always going to be a challenge. There's not one runaway team like a PSG, for example, that if we put this tactic on, they should just win anyway. It's still going to be a challenge in the Premier League. Now, the mid-table / upper mid-table, the sub-top, I'm going to call them, is what FM Base call them themselves, teams. We're going to try it from the Serie A. Reason for this is that there are 3 teams that I would consider to be very overpowered in Football Manager in Serie A. We're going to use the teams below that, and there's quite a lot that tend to really go all the way down to 10th place that you could consider being a decent team in Serie A. So it would definitely be a challenge if they make it into the top 4, for example. And the underdog team, the bottom half of the league, we're going to do it from the Bundesliga. Reason for it is there is always some very good teams in the Bundesliga from mid-table upwards who tend to overperform. So if we use the teams at the bottom end, we should see a very true rendition. And of course, anything can happen in the Bundesliga. I've seen teams like Mainz and Cologne win the Bundesliga. So that's the reason for choosing them for the underdog team. Now we're going to start off with the 5th best ranked team, but it is actually the 6th, but it's just that there are 2 tactics, that are so similar in shape, I don't really want to cover both of them. So we're going to skip one of them, and we're going to go to the 6th best, which is now going to be classed as the 5th best, because I want to give you variety. Now the tactic was created or uploaded at least by the Maiden83, and it is called the 4-1-3-2 FMT version. So you can see 4-1-3-2, it looks very attacking, so I've chosen Chelsea to run this tactic with, because obviously they got 2 really good strikers. I think they have a load of options up front, and this is all I've done is I've selected the pick without restriction best 11. What I didn't actually do when I simulated these, but just by going on holiday by the way, is I just selected to use the tactic. I didn't actually select to use the team. So if I went on holiday here, all I selected was use current match tactic. I didn't select the current team when possible, so every single simulation is going to be exactly the same in regards to that. Just the tactic, no players. And as you can see here, the formations used in the data hub was the 4-1-5 is what it's the formations being called, attacking midfield wide 100% of the time. We started 50 games with this tactic, and while we're on this page, you might as well see it. Scoring effective from through balls, 48 of the 116 assists in the last 50 matches have come from through balls. That's obviously very impressive number. Now we take a look at how Chelsea did with this. They won the Premier League. Very impressive indeed. 92 points, 1 point above Manchester United, 3 points above Liverpool, who tend to be really good. But what I think is really impressive is that both of our strikers are in the top goal scorer section. Romelu Lukaku winning with 24 goals, Timo Werner with 21. Assist-wise, Mason Mount managed to get 14 assists. Again, really impressive. So I think statistically then we must be... we scored quite a lot of goals, 103 goals there. We're not there for anything else, just the most points per game. Other competitions, knocked out the semi-final by PSG, which is obviously disappointing. The FA Cup quarter-final by Manchester City, and the 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Fulham. We'll ignore that one, I guess. By the way, if you could take a second to like this video, if we get 1,000 likes, I'll also test 5 very unique tactics, and I'll bring that to you within the next couple of weeks. They won't be the best, but they'll be definitely good. They'll just be very unique. The sub-top team that I chose was Roma. So, with Roma, I think the reason for that is very similar to Chelsea. They have a lot of attacking options. You can see here, if I select the best 11, we have the likes of obviously Tammy Abraham. Zaniolo is up there too. Pellegrini fits very well in the deep line playmaker role. Don't worry, we'll take a look at the tactic in a second, but I think it definitely suits that. And it did very successfully. They actually won the Italian Serie A and the Euro Cup too. So 2 competitions that they've won. They knocked out the quarterfinal by Lazio, one of those overpowered teams that I mentioned earlier. Now, Roma have no right to actually win the Serie A. I think they are predicted to finish 5th place, but I think season predictions sometimes puts them around like 7th position, 8th sometimes, so 3rd at the start of it. I mean, yeah, never 3rd. They are never the 3rd best team in Serie A. I think there's 4 teams at least in Lazio, Inter Milan, AC Milan, and Juventus, who are definitely better. Then you've got the likes of Napoli, who you could consider to be better than still. So I would consider Roma to be the 6th best team in this league, and yet they're winning it 86 points by 2 goals. Ciro Immobile is broken in the game. He's got 33 goals, but Tammy Abraham managed to secure 27, even though he has a strike partner. And the final team, obviously the underdog team that I've chosen for this tactic is Augsburg. Again, very similar reasons. They got some good attacking options, and if I was to select best 11 here, you can basically see what they were running throughout the season. And again, if we take a look at their predicted, they're predicted to finish in 13th place. Remember, there's only 18 teams in the Bundesliga, so they are near the bottom there. But they finished in 5th, only a point away from Champions League spots. Quarterfinals of the DFB Pokal, a very good achievement there for FC Augsburg. They had one of their strikers, Erling Haaland, scored 46. That is ridiculous. One of the strikers is there with 24, at least half of almost Erling Haaland's goals. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't saying these are the best 5 tactics and, you know, I've tested this to the best of my ability. Obviously, there's going to be flaws in the way I tested this. I don't have, you know, hours upon hours that I can test all these tactics in loads of different test leagues, etc, etc. This is just for a little bit of fun, showing a bit of a spotlight on the 5 best tactics on FM base. Okay, so before you go angry down in the comments that, oh, this is an unfair tactic, test, whatever, just a little bit of fun. If you enjoy it, thank you very much. Leave a like. Also leave a comment if one of these was your favourite. So let's briefly look at this tactic then. Of course, we've got 2 advanced forwards there. We can see the instructions as I'm going through. 2 wingers on attack as well as obviously the shadow striker on attack. 5 players up front, all on attack duty. You might think that's too much, but it creates so many overloads, you end up scoring more goals often than your opponents. So the deep line playmaker on support there. We've got inverted wingbacks. I absolutely love inverted wingbacks. What you're going to find out if you decide to use this tactic is in the gameplay, you'll see these inverted wingbacks sat alongside your deep line playmaker. That's your security. That's your security in midfield for only playing 1 defensive midfielder as such. Then you got 2 ball playing defenders here at the back, and the goalkeeper is set to defend. It's a positive mentality. In possession, we can see these are the instructions selected. In transition, it's a gegenpress, rolling it out, and out of possession, we are using the offside trap, high line of engagement, standard defensive line, much more trigger press, short goal kick distribution. So the 4th tactic is this little beauty. It's called Kaka Can't Dance 4-3-3. I like the style of formation, as a 63% win record on FN base, and it's a 5-star overall subtop and underdog, so it should be a very good tactic. We've tested it with 3 teams. Let's take a look. Now, very much like the tactic test on FN base, I tried this first off with Liverpool, and as you can see at the top there, they finish in 1st place, but we'll look at the results in a sec. I'm just going to show you how this tactic is set up, and if we do pick without restrictions best 11, again, this is what the assistant manager would have been likely to play, Salah and Mane alongside Diaz up top there. No Diego Jota. Quite surprised if you ask me. But of course, it uses the width of Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, who are going to be very crucial in this. The Mazzala and centre midfield on attack is going to support the 3 up top, creating a lot of overloads with the ball-winning midfielder. Tends obviously to be Fabinho. Most of the time, he was going to help secure defence and win the ball back. It's a tiki-taka too, so we'll take a look at the formation and tactic itself later on. But competitions-wise, yeah, it's a treble. It's the best treble too. The English Premier League, 92 points, only losing 2 games to Burnley and Manchester United, but it also won the Champions League, 3-1 to Bayern Munich. Luis Diaz picked up the 1st goal in the 1st half. Mo Salah, a fantastic assist there. So as you can see, creating the overloads at the top of the pitch. Mo Salah then scored a penalty, and the 3rd was capped off from a corner, Virgil van Dijk. The FA Cup was won against Manchester City, a 3-2 victory there. So overall, a fantastic time that Liverpool have had using this tactic. 3 up top. I do like this formation. I've used very similar styles. I think in the Monaco rebuild, we use a very similar formation, but with different player roles. So yeah, I think this year in Football Manager, because of the way you can create overloads from midfield, having 3 up top, it's really overpowered. Now, the sub-top team was Sassuolo. This, I'm very impressed with, because obviously Sassuolo, they are like really far down in regards to like mid-table. The best 11 that I can show you here is what it looks like. Look at all those greens, absolutely beautiful. Only the defense didn't play that well, but they finished in 5th place. Really, really impressive. Raspadori getting the most goals in the league with 26. But if I show you the past position, Sassuolo, they have been up and down and around about 4th or 5th place for the whole of the season. So a very fantastic season for them. And competitions-wise, they were knocked down the quarterfinals by those Zebras. Not bad at all. But the underdog team was Greuther Fürth. Now, these are by far and wide the worst team in the Bundesliga. They're predicted to finish in 18th place. They have won the Bundesliga 3 times, by the way, but it was a long time ago. So, Greuther Fürth, even though they have the history, they are really struggling in the Bundesliga this season, and yet they survived. Hertha Berlin and Augsburg went down. Obviously, Augsburg, we've just tested with them, and we finished in 5th. That's the difference from that first tactic. But Greuther Fürth using this, 35 points. It's a good tally. It's safe. I would possibly suggest that this tactic might not be the best for underdogs going by this, but again, it still overperformed. The meter predicted was to finish bottom. They didn't do that. They avoided relegation. They might have just not played as well as what you had hoped if you decided to use this tactic. So let's dive a little bit more into it then. We got an advanced forward on attack there, moving into channels. We've got the complete forwards on support. They're shooting less often, stay wider, tackle harder. So basically it acts as a 4-3-3, but a very narrow one. Same on the opposite side there. We've got centre midfielder on attack, one of my favourite roles this year. You see them bombing through the midfield. And if you've got somebody like Thomas Souček at West Ham, incredible player traits for it, incredible attributes for it. He is amazing in this role. Mazzala on attack as well, very similar to that, but they tend to drift a little bit wider. And then, of course, that ball-winning midfielder at the heartbeat of your midfield. We've got the 2 wing-backs on attack. They're going to stay a little bit wider, take more risks, shoot less often. We've got the centre defender on one side. We've got a ball-playing defender on the other, and a wing-back on attack on the left, of course, with a sweeper keeper in goal. It's an attacking mentality. We're underlapping, but they tend to not really do that. They will still stay out fairly wide because you don't have anybody to underlap. Working the ball into the box, low crosses. The passing directness, obviously, tiki-taka style, shorter passing directness, but with higher tempo, and you're running at the defence there. In transition, it is a gegenpress, pulling it out to the fullbacks to start off your attacks. High line of engagement, higher defensive line getting stuck in, so be careful of those yellow cards. I would toggle this if you're finding that you're getting way too many yellow cards as well as player instructions. Try it without that. If you're maybe got a bit of a smaller team, always try and do that. And again, if you're finding yourself you're getting really tired, toggle these two as well. Bring this down a little bit, bring that intensity down. And then you can obviously increase it if you need to go for a victory in the game. Always try and do things like that. I would definitely suggest that, and using the offside trap. Now, the third ranked tactic is this one. Is added by Soraman, and I was very interested by it because it had a false 9, so I was really intrigued. It's 5-star again across the board. Let's take a look. So for the elite team, I ran this with Manchester United. I thought the false 9, Trecatista on the left, winger on the right, they definitely suit those types of players, definitely. So let's take a look then how it did. Well, they won the Champions League and they're runner-up of the FA Cup. They did, however, finish in 3rd place in the league. I would still say that's a very successful season, considering how bad Manchester United are in real life, but I know on the game they're slightly better. But they won the Champions League after beating Manchester City in the final after extra time. I think one thing I noticed from this tactic most of all is how well the goals are spread out across the 3 that have mainly been playing up front. I think Ronaldo tends to have been playing that Trecatista role as well as up front when Cavani wasn't playing, but when Cavani did play, possibly out on that left-hand side. Marcus Rashford, very fruitful season as well. 3 players with 20 goals, you can't really ask much more than that. But Bruno Fernandes, obviously the standout performer there. 13 goals and 26 assists. If you take a look at where he was playing, the Mazzala on attack tended to be the main role for him. So he was actually really important in regards to actually utilising that Mazzala on attack to create overloads on that right-hand side. Very fruitful season for Bruno Fernandes. Now, Sampdoria are a team predicted to finish in 10th place, yet with this tactic, a fantastic 3rd place finish with 79 points. Incredible, really. 4 points above 4th place. They have Champions League football next season, and I will show you, because some people people are like, yeah, right. No extra signings. None. This is just the Sampdoria team. They did amazing using this tactic. Very defensively secure, because we can see only 18 goals were scored from Caputo. But I will show you how it looked like it would line up the best 11. That is what the best 11 is there. So Damsgaard and Kandreva, two fantastic players. And I think they've got a really good midfield there. That's what will be mostly used and would help, obviously, providing victories in the Italian Serie A. Other competitions, they were knocked out in the third round. They got a bad draw, though, against Inter Milan, who ultimately are the best team in the Serie A or in Italy to begin with. But Sampdoria, that is absolutely a fantastic finish. And our final team, Stuttgart, again, they finish in second place. Second, behind Bayern Munich, above the likes of Dortmund, who had a really bad season by the looks of it. Leipzig and Mönchengladbach in behind as well. But Stuttgart finished second, only to Bayern Munich. And if we take a look at Stuttgart, they're predicted to finish 14th. That is a massive overachievement. This tactic has really impressed me, and it's the third ranked highest on this list. The false nine, I'm really shocked of it. So we'll go through the play instructions then. This is the winger on attack, the Trequartista. We've got an attacking playmaker or advanced playmaker here. Mazzala on attack, a DM on support. Two inverted wing backs, we mentioned their role, the ball playing defenders there, and the sweeper keeper. It's a positive mentality. In possession, this is what's highlighted. It's not a lot. It's very short directness, but it's extremely high tempo, working the balls into the box. And in transition, it's a gegenpress, distributing the ball quickly or taking short kicks. Offside trap is utilised. Much high line of engagement, standard defensive line. Again, getting stuck in, prevent short goal kick distribution with much more trigger press. If you find yourself getting yellow cards, yada, 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 take it off, toggle it. Now, I mentioned if I got 1,000 likes, I'll show you some very unique tactics. This one is actually in the top 2. This one is the second highest ranked tactic in there, and it is a strikerless with 5 across the front 3. Very similar, of course, to the attackerless one that we highlight before on my YouTube channel, but this one just a little bit further up. Instead of that centre midfield, they're all in the centre attacking midfield areas. It's a 5-star for overall and sub-top, and only a 4-star for underdog, for obvious reasons, I guess, but let's see how the tests fared out. So I ran this with Manchester City, and this is the best 11 suggested. Rodri in the Roman playmaker role, a very crucial role. I dare say if you haven't got a very good player for this role, don't use this tactic. But what this formation does utilize is the front 3 and obviously the 2 supporting wingers out there helping score some goals. If you've got creative players like this, you're going to do very well. Obviously, I would be using strikers there. If you have a striker in this role which breaks the offside trap, use him. The reason why I chose Manchester City is they don't necessarily have a striker, so this probably is the best formation for them, and they tend to actually use something very similar in real life. The inverted wingbacks are obviously very crucial to helping out your centre defensive midfielder. But again, I think this, if I was using this week by week with Manchester City and I was able to make my own signings, etc., I'd be using players like Sterling in the shadow striker role, but I haven't done that for the purpose of this tactic test. I've let the assistant manager choose the team every single week, but that's what I'd be doing. I'd be using strikers in these roles. It's very overpowered. People have seen how well it's done from using the attackerless tactic, from using centre midfielders, actually as strikers. So there we go. So how has it performed? We finished second in the Premier League, 4 points behind 98 points total of Liverpool. We did win the FA Cup though, and we were the quarter-finalists in the Champions League. So it's an okay season. It's not the best of Manchester City, but Liverpool are just so bloody good. 94 points is a very high tally, and we have the highest goal difference as well, which if we take a look at the Premier League and go to overview, we scored 115 goals. We just could not stop conceding. We conceded 32. Liverpool only conceded 14 in 38 games. So Jurgen Klopp just had an amazing season for Liverpool in this, obviously, campaign. It's just unfortunate, I guess, for this save. But one of my favourite teams is Fiorentina. This is the sub-top team that I chose from the Serie A for this simulation. And if you take a look at competitions, I actually think they overperformed. 4th place is a fantastic finish. Only 2 points behind second Atalanta. AC Milan finished in top with 85 points, so we're not that far off, to be honest, top of the league. We only lost 7 games, but we drew 7 games. That's the trouble there. What a fantastic season that is. And the reason why I chose Fiorentina is I think they have some really good players for those positions. So tactically then, this is what it actually looked like for anybody who's interested in what they played. You've got some fantastic centre or shadow strikers, and obviously you got the likes of Gonzalez, and Chiesa's not going to be there, so you can ignore that one, I think, because obviously he's at Juve, whoever would be playing there. But they got some fantastic players. The likes of Akone, obviously, who they've just signed, would be really good in that shadow striker role because of his good off the ball and pace. And the underdog team, I chose Bochum. Yeah, they're not that good at all, but they finished in 4th place. 4th. Wow. So the Bundesliga, like I mentioned, even though I'm using underdog teams, anything can happen in the Bundesliga. Greuther Fürth relegated with only 17 points. Stuttgart all the way down there. Augsburg down there. Teams that we have overperformed with already. Bochum in 4th this time with 65 points. Very impressive indeed. 5 points clear of Europa League spots. Absolutely incredible stuff from Bochum. Let's take a look then at the tactic, because the shadow strikers are really important, like I mentioned. If you can train them to break the offside trap and they got good finishing, composure and pace, you will score a crap ton of goals with these players. Shoot less often, tackle harder, that's all 3 of them. The wingers on support, they basically supply the goods. Take more risks, shoot less often, tackle harder. The roaming playmaker, one of the most important roles in this. You're going to have arguably one of your best players, like a Rodri, for instance, who is going to shut up shop. But the inverted wingbacks will help them out on each side. You can see shoot less often, tackle harder. They will always be sat in this role here. The ball playing defenders on defend, and we've got a sweeper keeper on support. It's a positive mentality, playing out defense, extremely high tempo, working the ball into the box. In transition is a gegenpress, again, rolling the ball out and out of possession, using the offside trap, much high line of engagement, standard defensive line, with prevent short goal kick distribution and much more trigger press. Again, if you're finding you get yourself players really tired, toggle this, turn this down a little bit, tune it down a little bit so you can tune it up when you're losing in a game to try and win a goal back. Now, the number 1 ranked tactic on FM base for overall is this, and it is called Hiding in the Shadows. It was uploaded by Will 1981, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It is a 5-star overall, 5-star sub-top and underdog, so we're expecting big things from this. A 65% win ratio. Yes. Let's take a look at it. Now, again, I ran it with Chelsea. I think Chelsea have a very good team to suit this style of play. You got Lukaku playing up top with Ziyech, Havertz and Mount in behind. That's 3 really fantastic players to supply Lukaku. Kovacic and Kante in the roaming playmaker roles. We've got inverted wing-backs are very good. And, of course, the 2 centre-backs. How did Chelsea do, though? Well, they finished 2nd in the Premier League. Again, Liverpool are just very good in this game. Lukaku scored a lot of goals, 28 in total. Mason Mount got 14. How did they do in other competitions, though? Well, they were the semi-finalists in the Champions League, but they were the runner-up of the Carabao Cup. It's very unfortunate they did win the Super Cup. Congratulations, Chelsea. Let's take a look at sub-top. This is where this tactic overperformed. In the sub-top, I chose Atalanta because they were predicted to finish in 7th place, yet victory. 94 points with this. 94. Absolutely incredible. Even in the competitions as well, they did it across the board. In the Champions League, they finished in the... what a group as well. They actually played against Chelsea in this universe. Chelsea won both times against Atalanta using the same tactic. But in the Serie A, they won the league. They were also runners-up in the Europa League. That's absolutely fantastic. Who did they play against? Bayer Leverkusen. They lost only after extra time. And they were the runner-up in the Italian Cup. They were this close to a treble. Sassuolo beat them in the final 1-0. That is very impressive. If we take a look at the tactic, then we can see what they were running by the looks of it. So this is it. Malinowski, Paslak and Pacina. Pacina is so good, by the way, in shadow striker role. Zapata up front. And basically what you're going to see in this tactic is every time Zapata gets the ball, as an advanced forward, he's going to have 3 players trying to overlap him and create an overload on the 2 centre defensive or 2 centre defenders. The Roman playmakers will do all the dirty work to keep the ball out, and of course you've got the inverted wing backs who will help them, as well as bomb down the pitch and try and supply extra creative force and look like center attacking midfielders, so you'll basically have 6 players up top at times. It's a very overpowered style of play. I've used a very similar style in the past and rebuilds again, and it's worked really well. The underdog team, we use Cologne in the Bundesliga. Club information shows that we should have been finishing around about 15th. No, we overperformed again. 3rd place. 3rd in behind Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund with 71 points. We finished in the Champions League spots. That is incredibly impressive. So let's take a look at hiding in the shadows then. You're not hiding in the shadows anymore. This is very much out there. Take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, tackle harder. The shadow strikers, you can see all 3 are the same. Shoot less often and tackle harder. Roaming playmaker, dribble more, shoot less often, move into channels and tackle harder on both. Inverted wingbacks are very similar on both sides. Shoot less often, tackle harder. The ball playing defenders are dribble more, shoot less often, stay wider, tackle harder on both. And then of course we have a sweeper keeper on support. It's a positive mentality, and in possession we are fairly wide, playing it out of defense, extremely high tempo, low crosses, working the ball into the box. In transition, it is a gegenpress, rolling the ball out and out of possession, much higher, but with a standard defensive line, using the offside trap, preventing short goal kick distribution, much more trigger press, forcing the opposition out wide. This is the #1 ranked tactic on FM base for a very good reason. It is definitely overperformed with sub-top and underdog. Maybe not as much with the elite team, but yeah. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments section. Have you used any of these? Do you use something similar in your tactics? Let me know all of that information down below. If you want to watch some of the wrestling stuff we got on the 2nd channel, we're using my GM mode on WWE 2K22. Check that out as well. And why not watch this video? We went 100 years in the future trying to win a World Cup with Gibraltar. Yeah, 100 years. Check it out. You'll enjoy it. See you soon. Bye-bye.